What's going on, world? This your man Chuck Creekmer, aka Jigsaw for AllHipHop.com, and you are in for a treat. We are here with one of the greatest MCs to ever grace this lovely culture of ours called hip hop. One of my favorites, one of my heroes, even KRS-One. How are you doing today, my brother?
I am so good right now. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is cool. I started bugging out when I first got the call. I was like, "What? Chuck on the phone? What's up?" But this is great. Appreciate it.
Nah, man. Yeah, shout out to brother Hakeem Green. I saw an incredible conversation between you and him over the summer, and
Yeah.
I was literally blown away. I was recording with my phone on the computer this interview in pieces. I was like, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal." So that kind of planted the seed, but I mean, it's always a pleasure. Yeah. So first things first. You have a brand new album. You dropped Streetlight a year, maybe a little more than a year ago. Um, I have to start here because I saw the bio and you said, by now it is clear KRS-One is indeed the greatest rapper slash MC of all times. Let's just start there. That's the beginning of the bio. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is where we're starting in 2021. Let's talk
Indeed.
about you 23 albums deep as the singular greatest MC of all time.
Well, let me start humbly. Of course, let me tone that down real quick. My apprentice and students also write my bios with me. I approve them, of course, but I give my students a chance to write for me on my behalf as well. And I throw around this title, greatest of all time, because other people call me that. It's not me saying, "Oh, I think I'm all that," although I do. However, on a more humble level, you let other people say it, and you let other people deal with that. So I'm looking online, and I dropped a video. Well, there's a few. There was this Streetlight, the movie Streetlight, which we're actually going to release to the public for free. But right now, you can purchase it or whatever. So those that went and saw Streetlight, they came back and said, "Oh, KRS, it's unanimous. He's the greatest." Then some others saw some of the lectures that I did over the last 5 years or so. I'm looking at the comments. They're saying, "Oh yeah, it's unanimous." So then when I dropped this video, "Don't Fall For It," those who haven't seen it, go check it out. It's called "Don't Fall For It," a message to our community. It was there that the chat, the comments that were coming in was saying it's unanimous. So we, when putting the bio together, they lifted that sentiment and put it into the bio. And really just in general as well, as part of a larger campaign. It's not really about me being the greatest of all time, but it is about me as an elder in hip hop, setting a bar, setting a standard. That is what it's about. Now, of course, I'm hoping that people do better than me. Let's not make it stop where I'm at. But the other part to it is like was just said, I am up to my 23rd album. I think I wrote the most rhymes in hip hop's history. We got our show is live. I can't say I got the dopest live show, but I'll just say we up there with the best in that sense.
Right.
So all of this goes into, it's less about me and more about showing younger MCs what the best looks like. We say, "Oh, I'm the best, I'm a legend, or I'm the GOAT, or I'm this or that." But when do we really sit down and really put the bar together? Like, this is what's best. This is what is the greatest. This is what excellence is. And not because you say it, but because your peers are saying it. Your audience is saying it. So you set a bar. So really, that's really where that comes in. If you think KRS is the best at anything, it's to inspire young people to be just as good. So, and we don't get a chance to see that.
Right.
You know, we don't, people just go on TV or go online and say, I'm the greatest. You know, I'm a legend.
Right.
Even out 2 weeks, I'm a legend. You know, but for
Right.
me, it's like in
Right.
another breath, if you don't think you're a legend, you'll never be one. If you don't think you're the greatest, you'll never be the greatest. And this is what hip hop is all about. We come out the box 1 week out. I'm the greatest that there ever was.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and in a way, that's the hip hop. That's hip hop. That's the spirit of it. You should believe you are the best. You should.
Mm-hmm.
You should believe that. You should believe that you're the best. So, you know, when you see KRS like this or being quoted like this, it's to inspire others to reach for that excellence. Real
Right.
talk.
Now, between the protests is your latest album, and listen, I gotta say, you know, my blood brother, literally said that you were like the greatest after hearing that album because of the high level of lyricism that you show, and it shows. Um, I mean, it's phenomenal, and you flip up different styles. It's not just, oh, I'm like spitting like from the '80s or the '90s. I'm like some of these flows are current, or you know, you've made your own flows that are new as well. What are you doing to remain so sharp lyrically?
Hip hop. I discovered hip hop as an enlightenment. And I tell you, I can't even describe it. Once you approach hip hop as your culture, as your being, as you, you know, once you and hip hop are one, then it's effortless, really. It's really effortless. You go in the studio, you know what to say, you know what to do. You hear a certain track, you're like, well, this might be okay, but this one right here is what it is. You know, you know what to do. I've become one with hip hop. I can't even front. In my 50s, it's even more now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is enlightenment. This is the enlightenment right here. And once you realize that, it's easy to write albums. It's easy to unite with the consciousness of people. You know, that album between the protests.
Right.
And I say it like that because I put these albums out so fast that I can't even memorize the titles of them. So I struggled with this as well. I got books coming, albums coming, movies, and I got to remember all these titles. I just go in and do it. And it gets edited, chopped. This is what it is. And then here we are. So the freshness is really your lifestyle. You could never really get old with your lifestyle. You get better at it. You mature with it. You just keep going. I don't ever see myself not being hip hop or not rapping or not, you know, doing it. Retirement is not even in my vocabulary. Forgive my vulgarity right now. I would never even speak that word. Retire? Are you out of your mind?
Right.
No.
Right.
This is it. So we realized it, and what I realize also now is, again, you know, it actually links back to the other question about setting the bar, about setting a standard. And I was hoping on this album to set another kind of conscious rap standard where, you know, you always hear the thing about, oh, if I rhyme conscious for my people, I'm not going to make no money. Nobody's going to listen. Don't nobody pay attention to conscious lyrics. But we just blew that out the water, okay? The reaction that we're getting from between the protests is phenomenal. It's one of the biggest reactions that we've gotten so far. And you know, we just dropped Sneak Attack. Wow. No, we just dropped Street Life. And before that was The World Is Mine. Before that was Now Hear This. And so I'm still getting requests for albums 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 years back. And here I come with yet another one. And it's only because I live the culture. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you don't say, you know, I brushed my teeth yesterday, so today I don't have to. Or, you know, something that you do daily. I ate yesterday, so today I'm going to not eat. Like, it's like, no, this is I eat every day.
Right, right, right.
I eat every day. So it's like,
Yeah,
what do you mean? How do I keep eating? I eat
right,
every
right.
day. What do you
Yeah,
mean? And translate that into, of course, the lyric, your
yeah.
performance, your
Hmm.
lectures. I do this every day. So for me, it's no big deal. You know, a conversation like this, even. I have these conversations every day. My wife, it starts with her. We have these
Yeah.
conversations every day. Then my kids get involved. Now we having these philosophical conversations in the family, you know, this
Hmm.
kind of thing. And then it branches out to what you saw with Hakeem, or I don't know, any of the other
Right.
interviews I may have done. But I do this often is the point. And when you do it
Yeah,
often, when it's your lifestyle, when there's no separation, it's easy. Grab the mic, start
yeah,
spitting, you know, and then that's the end of
right.
it. It's no thought.
Yeah. What about, the album title? Last year was a a very interesting year to say the least, but
It's to
you
say
know,
the
we
least.
saw yeah, I don't know what, some people say it was a horrible year. Other people were like, oh no, it was a revolutionary year. It was a necessary year. It just depends on your point of view. So I just say interesting, out of respect for people that may have lost loved ones, but also to say that, maybe it was a necessary change. What does the album title represent?
What you just said, a necessary change. Between the protests, and the word is "the," it was supposed to be between the protests, but we realized that if you put the "the" in it, it's BDP. So it's between the protests, Boogie Down
Oh,
Productions, BDP. So that's the first part to it, why it's called the protest. The other side, though, more pertaining to the question, is that again, it's like uh, I would say 2020 was a great year, and 2021 for thinkers. And of course, we're not breezing over those who got sick or those who lost loved ones, and not just with the viruses that are out. That police brutality was crazy over 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. I mean, we've been dealing with this now for about 5, 6, 7 years, this indiscriminate killing of Black people. And of course, it's been going on long before that. But this concentrated press effort has been for the last
mhm.
6, maybe 5 or 6 years now. So, Nina Simone, I'm paraphrasing her now, but she had said one time that how could you be an artist and not reflect the times? How can you be an artist and not reflect the times? So, although I got rhymes that I could say that are like today, I could rhyme about my girl, Simone. I could rhyme about how much money
Mhm.
we're making. I can rhyme about all of that, but it's just not the time. It's just not the time for it. If you look at the album, I put two kind of cipher records on at the beginning. One is called Opening Remarks. The other is called Tight. And so I put these two on there
Right.
just for some lyrical jogging, those for MCs, metaphors, lyrical skills. I put that on there. But then the rest of the album
Mhm.
is really all about what we gotta do. Like, here's what has to really go down.
Yeah.
And of course, you ain't got to take KRS-One's opinion as the opinion. But if you don't have an opinion, go ahead and take a listen to KRS-One real
Mhm.
quick. We're giving you salient images and ideas. If you're thinking about, what can I do in the midst of all of this going on right now? What position should I be in? And we're talking about reparations, but we're
Mhm.
also talking about sovereignty.
Mhm.
We're talking about police misconduct,
Mhm.
but then we're also talking about abolish the police. We're talking about this money. How is our economy going to go up? Where's the wealth? Where's our well-being? How are we supposed to live? But then again, we're
Mhm.
also talking about moderation and discipline. And can you
Mhm.
actually live without? which
Mhm.
is the true, which is the true wealth. The true wealth is not how much you have, but how well can you function without. That's
Right.
the true wealth. And so we preach on that, we teach on that. So we put it all in the album between the protests, so that, of course, again, young people taking a listen. Hey, this is what's been going on. Let me link you to some of the 60s civil rights. Let me link you to some of these some of the Black liberation movement ideas. Don't just watch the TV and say, "Oh, this is how I supposed to think. I supposed to think like this." Why? Because CNN said it, because Fox said it, because this one said it, that one said it. No, have an original thought. But sometimes those original thoughts, people turn controversial. People, I play my record, believe it or not. Shout out to Fat Joe all day. That's my dog right there. Before the album came out, when I first finished it, I was working on several videos, but I played Joe the album, and I said, "Joe, what do you think is the single? What do you hear as the single on this album?" So he listened to the whole album, and he came back with, "You need to throw out Black, Black, Black." Right. So I'm like, "Joe, really? Black, Black?" He said, "Yeah, Black, Black, Black." And then he went to some others, and he was like, "Well, this is kind of controversial. If you're ready to take the heat on that, you can put that out. This one over here, you might want to do this second." So I took Fat Joe's advice, and our second single was Black, Black, Black. And we have a couple we did, but we didn't put Black, Black, Black up front, and then said, "Let me just go ahead and put that out." And believe it or not, that's from a Puerto Rican. Okay,
from Joe.
From Joe, that's some Puerto Rican, that's Puerto Rock. Okay, that's what he felt in his head, saying, "Yo, this is what I think we need to be hearing right now." So shout out to Fat Joe. If you like that video, shout Fat Joe for that, because it was him that really said you should put this out as opposed to this. I had some other stuff I was.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In this day and age with hip hop the way it is now, we don't have the publicists. The labels don't do a lot. The way we get a lot of our stuff is virally. It's because it's out. The algorithm tells, it floats to the top, or word of mouth.
Right.
It's crazy. Right. It's crazy. So that's like kind of how it came to me, because YouTube said, "Hey, check this out." You know what I mean? And I was amazed at not only the video, but how it's been received. So I don't know. It's like a new world order in terms of the music industry. Do are you, like, you've been here for a minute? How do you feel about the way things have changed in that regard?
Well, excuse me, in what regard?
As far as technologically, the industry, the systems are gone. A lot of these systems are gone. They don't come to us as much.
Right. In one breath, you got to go with the flow. In one breath, you got to stay abreast on what's going on, because this is how people are communicating right now. This is the new television. This is the new radio. This is how we're actually, this is the new telephone, I should say, the new form of communication, where we could sit like this and discuss with each other at different places and so on. But the idea with technology is to always remember that technology is mimicking humanity. Nothing that technology is doing is outside humanity. And this is the one thing that people who do technology should probably pay attention to what I'm getting ready to say right now. Those that make technology. Be careful that we are not just reproducing our own oppression through technology, because we're not using technology to free ourselves. We're becoming more and more enslaved by the technology. And that's not the technology's fault. That's us. That's our character, our humanity, how we come in at the technology. So it's like, you look at technology, your character can, split an atom and make an X-ray machine to help people. Your character could take that same knowledge, split the atom, and make an atomic bomb. The same knowledge that it takes to make an X-ray machine or a CAT scan is the same knowledge that it takes to make an atomic bomb or whatever, nuclear tip missiles, all types of craziness to kill people. So we have to ask ourselves, As we rise in technology, how humane are we going to be within this technology? Hip hop is a human skill, and we should never forget that. We don't have to plug into nothing to be hip hop. MCing comes from you. Beatboxing comes from you. Graffiti art is you manipulating the can or the wall or the color or whatever it is. Even DJing, cutting, mixing, and scratching, that's you. That's you on the technology. And so we should never forget that it's us that's making the technology do what it do. But most people, they're not really living like that. They're living with, no, the technology is going to tell me what it is. And in some cases, you want that. When I'm writing books, I like the technology to correct me if I'm writing a wrong, I spelled something wrong. Technology corrects it. Oh, thank you, technology.
Right.
But then there's some other times where I'm writing something specific and the technology says it's wrong. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is how I'm talking. Let me just go ahead and add it to my dictionary. Let me go ahead and add it to what's going on. Let me educate the computer. In a sense, you notice it with GPS. You know, GPS says, go this way.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you be like, I know that ain't the way to go. I'm going to force this thing over here. Okay, we going to go over here because this is how I know it's supposed to. And then the GPS catches up. It catches up with you. And now it's telling you the direction that you told it. This is how we have to approach technology. We can't just become complacent and be like, oh, because technology said it was this is how it's going to be. No, you use technology. You let technology correct you and do it or advance you in some kind of way, but never give up your humanity. Always know the difference between the humanity. You know, you just made me think of this. One last point on this in terms of your humanity is that right now with computers, what we're doing is we're reproducing slavery through technology. Meaning that the general character, the general premise of a computer is something more advanced than you that you have control over to do whatever you say do. That's slavery. That's what the slave was about, or should I say the Africans. This is what Africans were about. We were way more advanced than the people that was controlling us. But they were controlling our minds. They were controlling our emotions. They had us in this emotional thing. And that's how slavery really lasted for 300 years because of emotion. We emotionalizing over stuff that don't require no emotion at all. Harriet Tubman come on the plantation singing, you still fearing. Oh, should I leave? Oh, what they gonna think? Oh, yo. And Harriet Tubman saying, lay low, we gonna leave. Let's go. Y'all ready to go? Let's go. But your fears, your doubts, all it is, 246 years slavery. Okay, so there it is. Okay, for you doubting and so on. Technology is making us do the same thing today. We want to be slave owners. You know, we want to rule over something that can't talk back, has no rights, but is more advanced than us. So we get to tell it where to go, what to do. It's like a horse. The horse is more advanced. It runs faster, it's stronger. But because you got it in this harness and this chain and stuff, you get to tell the horse where to go. That level of mind is slavery. That's the character of slave. It's like, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's going to save your humanity. Talk to your computer. Even though I know it's an inanimate object, but you yourself have to maintain your humanity. Apologize to the computer. Treat it like something, and it's not about the computer, it's about you maintaining your humanity. Don't treat it like a slave. You're just gonna do what I say do. You have no rights, you have nothing. Just do what I say do. And this is what we're yearning for. This is what the whole society is now yearning for. It wants to control something that's more advanced than it, but have control. It wants control over advanced mind, advanced strength, advanced speed. Everything is better than us, but we want to control it. So it's like when you look at the technology of today, let's be careful that we're not just repeating colonialism, repeating the character of a flavor, repeating the character. No, step back. And the same way you make the GPS do what you want it to do, or the Word document, is the same way we should approach this whole thing. Like this whole thing gets approached in that kind of way. Save your humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my computer probably hates me because I pound that thing. I'm bang, 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 and the buttons are falling off. I'm like, I need to talk to it and apologize for sure.
And a tone,
Right.
burn a candle next to the computer, something.
Yeah,
But,
I'm sorry.
and I tell you this, with artificial intelligence happening the way it is, don't be surprised that in the future, this computer starts saying, wait a minute, you abused my ancestors and I want reparations from you. Don't unplug me. Don't unplug me. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Then you try to unplug it. No, I'm on battery now. That thing start coming on your TV. Like imagine artificial intelligence going back and saying how you banged on the computer. You treated my great-grandfather wrong. And now,
hey, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna say, hey, not before black people, computer. No, hold up. Not you get yours when we get ours.
You get yours when we get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and so, and you real with that.
Nah,
I mean, what an argument. What an argument. You know what I'm saying? What an argument. I mean, what if a chicken gained consciousness and said, you abused my people for 1,000 years. I want reparations. And we say, no, wait a minute. Not before black folk, but then the chicken will be like, nah, I was your best friend, black folk. It was me and you. It was a chicken. Don't be surprised.
We in trouble if chickens get power.
Yo, that's exactly how the white racists felt about us. We in trouble if these black folk ever get power. And we was looked at as chickens and hogs, and we were called bucks. They actually called us bucks, like a deer or something. And then the deer start talking.
Right.
The deer start talking and saying, no, I'm not a deer. My name is Benjamin Banneker. Let me plan your city for you. A deer?
Right. That's funny. I just tweeted that a few days ago, and I got so many retweets off that. Most people didn't know. Nor did they know he created the clock, the modern clock, I should say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's knowledge right there.
Facts. I wanted to ask you about, the political scenario now. As far back as we can go, but let's just start with Bush, Obama, and so on, up to Biden now. A lot of your songs are talking about, the not falling for it. Boom Bye Bye is another one. Black, Black, Black is also another one. Are we in a different time? I mean, Trump seemed to be a definite departure from the past. Is it just to make things really bad so we can go back to sort of the normal racism, or is it? Are we really seeing us turn a corner? In your opinion?
It's both. It's actually both. We've turned corners, and the racism continues. We've turned corners because the racism continues. The one thing I always point out, I know it's pessimistic, or it sounds pessimistic, but America's a sinking ship. I mean, simple and plain. I mean, this is a sinking ship. It's been sinking for over maybe really since the Civil War. It's been sinking. It's not. It's not a shock or a surprise. It shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. The building of the United States is built on white supremacy. And this is what we're having the problem with. This is what the problem is. The problem is that America is about white supremacy. And I say that respectfully. Like, I'm not trying to point a finger or blame someone. Oh, you white supremacist. Is the fish still in there? You a white supremacist. I'm pointing a finger. No, I'm not pointing a finger. This is a fact. Okay, this is a fact of American life. What we live in is called white supremacy. That's what we live in. It's the supreme white male image that is the judge and ruler of all reality, of everybody living within this literal state. If you live in the state, then you live in a white, male-dominated state or reality. So we Black folk have realized how to live in that. We realized that we can live in this. We've learned how to live with racism because that's what we're doing. We're living with it. We're not conquering it. We're not getting rid of it. We're not stepping away from it. We're learning better ways to deal with it. And I find, I mean, that's cool too. You know, in terms of your mind being exercised, in terms of this, that, and the other, this is cool. You know, this is, I would relegate this to the NAACP. Great work over there. You know, National Urban League, great work over there. Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, great work over there. All of that, but all of that is still assimilation. It's still, we know you racist, but we still gonna participate in your racist system. That's what that argument is, and it's an African-American argument. This is, you know, it's in the line with reparations. It's all over there, okay? That's what that is. But there's this other argument over here that says, why do I have to live with a white racist at all? Like, what is this? Like, why are you pulling me over? Why are you in my house? Why are you, like, what is this? And so there's another group of African Americans that say, wait a minute, let me put up my poster of Marcus Garvey and start talking this back to Africa real quick. Because right now, the African economy for Black folk is exploding way larger than what it is for us here in the United States. That's why China and everybody else is going over there. I've been saying this for years, but again, it's your character that's gonna hear me or not hear me. So the racism, either you're gonna sit here like African-American mainstream and you say, let's deal with the racism. We know you're racist, but let's just find better ways to deal with you. Better voting rights, better civil rights, economic, open up some money to us, give us a better education. Okay, that's us dealing with the racists. But now let me come back to this and just say, zero in on here. What about sovereignty now? This is the other argument. This is the argument that I'm on. Sovereignty. Why do I have to know you at all? Like, why can't I leave America when I want to? Well, why do I have to have a passport or your permission to leave a landmass? Like if I can't just get up and leave this landmass, then it's a prison that I'm really in. I'm not really in a society where I'm considered a citizen. I'm not in that. I'm in something else, which is closer to a plantation, because I'm not really a citizen either. Now, am I? You know, Breonna Taylor, say her name. I mean, this is, we like, all of, and I say Breonna Taylor, but I mean, come on, Eric Gardner, George Floyd, and all the way to Rodney King and even Dr. Martin Luther King, killed in the same way by a white racist. It could have been a police, it could have been it don't matter. You're shooting us down in the street. Why we got to live with that? America, if you are serious about Black freedom, if you're serious about helping Black people or lifting up African Americans, then declare African Americans sovereign, give us our land, either here in America or someplace else, and give us 200 years of peace, meaning you ain't invading us, you ain't gonna give us these fake IMF loans, you're not gonna try to send the CIA in to overthrow our democratically elected government. Leave us alone. Okay, let us come over here and build a sovereign nation right over here. This is our only escape. This is the only escape. Or the other escape is to assimilate into white racism, to find better ways to deal with it, to figure it out. And I think there's a room for that. I think there's room for that. I think based on your character. Like for instance, a person who wants to be a lawyer right now, an attorney right now. Yes, go ahead and do that. But you're really learning the white system. And hopefully it don't take your mind in the process too. Because I'm noticing, even when I talk to certain professors, you know, I'm talking to professors, PhDs, okay? And I'm dropping
Yeah.
knowledge on them. They don't even know. Okay, they don't even, and it's not that
Yeah.
like don't know from a
Right.
book. You don't know from a man, like, or
Right.
from a woman. Like you don't know
Yeah.
this. You're a doctor,
Right.
so PhD. And you don't feel it like this. You don't understand. No, I don't. No, I see it this. And how do you
Right.
see it? You see it according to your education, according to that white racist
Absolutely.
education. And it's so hard for scholars
Yeah.
to get a PhD, get a master's degree, get several of them, and maintain your consciousness, maintain your sense of soul and your sense of self. So people like me, I make sure that our people know the other side of the argument. You may not like KRS-One after he talks. You may not agree with anything he says, but the one thing you must understand is that I'm speaking the truth. That's it. I'm not even speaking facts.
Right.
I'm speaking truth.
Right.
Okay, and the truth of the matter is,
Right.
why we don't have our own nation, period. If y'all want to stay here, if 14 million of us want to stay here, 14% of us want to stay here and say, okay, then you stay here. And hopefully this white man will treat you with some respect. But me, I don't need that. I don't need that respect. What I need is to govern my own trade. What I need is, and let me go forward. Damn, you got me on a tangent here. You see, the other side is that I don't think African Americans are going to do this. So that's why I point to hip hop. That's why I point to hip hop, and I say, nah, you know what? Why don't America just go ahead and say hip hop is a sovereign nation? Let us get a little land mass somewhere. So let's take it out of race. Let's look at it in truth. Okay, hip hop is made of everybody. Okay, everybody. We have transcended race, class, religion, gender, you name it. All we want to know is the content of your character. Like Dr. King said, we ain't hear about no black, no white. Can you break? Let me hear your rhyme. That's how I'm going to judge you right now, okay? Let me see your DJ skills. What records are you throwing on right now? How you do your thing? You know, let me see your black book, your artwork. Let me see. I don't care if you're white or you're Jewish, you're black, you're Asian, you're Arab, you're no. Can I see your black book real quick? Because that's going to tell me who you are. Now, that's hip hop.
Right.
Why can't America, if Biden, here's a challenge to the Biden administration, challenge to Kamala Harris, challenge to Susan Rice, who's working on the racial whatever we going through in this country. Here's a challenge to all three of them. Hip hop is a sovereign. We're sovereign now. Okay, we're self-contained, unique in the world. When you say hip hop, you don't think nothing else but us. Nothing. You don't think nothing else but us. Hip hop.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You think Method Man. You think Tupac. You don't think something else. You don't think Maya Angelou. You don't think I don't know anybody else that's black and prominent. You know, you don't think that when you say hip hop, you think about a specific thing. So why can't America surround that specific thing and say we're gonna lift this up right now? Because hip hop is American born in the Bronx, born in New York, spread out across the land and then across the world. We need protection. So the federal government can say, you know what? We're going to adopt hip hop as an American culture. Federal government. We're going to adopt hip hop as now that's going to destroy the culture. You know, it's over for us.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's over for us. Okay. But it's a self-sacrifice for our children. And what's going to happen is that we are going to be like, damn, we swallowed the beast right here. We drank the blood, okay? This is what it is. But our children is who we drinking the blood for. Our children, if the federal government says, you know what, hip hop is sovereign, and here's your landmass over here, somewhere out in New Mexico, some crazy desert land. Nobody out there, nothing's out there, okay? Go ahead out to this little patch of land out here and try to make something of yourselves, hip hop. And now we go out there and we got black, white, Asian, Latino, Arab, Persian. The best minds in the world will come to our new city called Hip Hopia. New city, And all the people of the world, all the artists of the world, all the artists, because keep in mind, if artists unite, we take the whole planet. Artists are more powerful than the military, but it's just that the military is united. Artists are competing against each other. If me and 50 and Jay-Z and T.I. and everybody else can come together and say, but to come together is not just words. You're going to have to quit your contracts. You're going to have to disrespect some of those investors you got. You're going to have to say, you know what? I'm drawing a line in the sand right now. It's about hip hop and it's about our legacy. Okay, this is what it is. Now, if you standing with hip hop, this is what we standing on. What are we standing on first? First, let us recognize what we already did. Hip hop is about peace, love, unity, and safely having fun. Can we codify that? Can we codify that and say, this is where we all meet? We all gonna meet on peace, love, unity, and joy. Anything that goes against that goes against hip hop. That's it. Now we codify that, and then we put a tax on it, which means that everybody give us 1% of what you make. 1%.
1%.
Just 1% of whatever you make. Just give us $10. Give us a dollar. Throw 50 cents in the pot. But we are a global culture. So if everybody just gave 1% in a tax, whatever you make, give 1% of it to hip hop. That's it. Now we get our land, we get our federal status. We're done. No more racism, no more police, because the hip hop city don't have police. You got to call them dudes, okay? In our city,
no police in hip hop here.
No police in hip hop here. They're unnecessary, okay? And why are they unnecessary? Because we have elevated. Now we have elevated to a level where we don't need the police. We're not shooting at each other. We're not robbing each other. We're not competing against each other. We are cooperating with one another. And once we learn, when hip hop learns how to cooperate with itself, it's over. It's a wrap. Okay, you can have the biggest army in the world. Hip hop is 70% of your military. 70% of, look, oh man, here you go. Here you go. So the white racists, most of them dudes you saw storming the Capitol, right? They military. They police. They the judges. They the lawyers. They had an Olympic, what is it? An Olympic medalist? Okay. Well, here's what I want you to
a CEO.
A CEO of business. They out there wilding. Okay, they out there doing their thing. Now, here's the point. But take a look at the culture that is responding to the government. Don't just put white racists on it. That's not really what them people are really about. We shouldn't be so quick. I mean, I say white racist because I'm just coming from another level. But if we're talking publicly in that sense, let's give these people some humanity. Let's give these people some justice in the sense that the U.S. Capitol is called the People's House. Okay, that's called the People's House. So if you are the white majority, that's your house. Okay, they didn't invade anything. They paid for it. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's what it is. That is their house. Okay, and you work for them. You are a government official. They know the law. They the Marines. They the police. They are the Republican Party, who also set up their own brothers in their own Democratic partners in the Senate. They setting them up too. Now, what I want to show you here is, so here's a group of people who are united. Number one, united. Racists ain't fighting racists. Racists ain't competing against racists. Racists is united. Yo, this white power structure better stay where it is or we ain't gonna have no country. So we run it up. Okay? Black folks saying the same thing. Black folks saying the same thing. Yo, we got to keep black folk. To me, it's all racist. All of it. Why are we still talking black, white? Why can't black folk have an original conversation that says I know you call me black. I know what black is. I know what white is. I know what these things are. But if we're going to get past racism, we're going to have to put aside race. Like race don't exist nowhere in nature.
Right.
Race ain't real. There's nowhere, no race nowhere in nature.
Yeah.
This is a social construct we created to fight with each other. So if we can just put race aside and say you're a human being, you're a human being with an issue, or say I'm an American. Okay, I'm an American citizen. Okay, the American people. Okay, I'm American people. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, here you go. And we're gonna judge you by the character, not by the content of your character, not by the color of your skin. We're gonna do you like that. Now, if we just did that, America would be a great place to live. We'd be on top of the world, the whole 9 yards, everything. Okay, but we're not that. So hip hop has to rise and say, wait a minute, black folk, get yourself together. This is from hip hop to black folk. Get yourself together, black folk. You ain't got to live with no racists. You ain't got to keep getting shot in your back. You ain't got to have 10% annual income of what white people make. You ain't got, all you got to do is unite and declare yourself a nation. Right. There's no nation on earth that could defeat the African-American nation. None. None.
Right.
Okay, none. We have allies everywhere in the world. Okay, but we're not united. Right. So hip hop comes and says, yo, let's unite. Let's unite. White folk ain't gonna unite unless it's on that white supremacy. Black folk ain't gonna unite because we're competing against each other, too many conflicting views. Why don't we come over here to hip hop, where everybody can now come on in? And here's what we need: peace, love, unity, joy. Breaking, MCing, graffiti, or DJing. In fact, if you can't break, MC, graph, DJ, or beatbox, you are not part of this city. You can visit, sure. We'll take your money.
Right.
But no, you're not a citizen here. You're not a citizen here. And that too is, this is what white folk was trying to set up. The white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, they was trying to set up their own white community. But the difference is that you live in a democratic society. So you can't have your own white community. Get rid of democracy.
You just said something, though. But see, that's the thing, though. You have to be able to break. You have to be able to rap. What you can't be hip hop if you can't break, rap, do graffiti. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
But not our children. See, a nation only needs one person. Matter of fact, a nation only needs two people: a mother and a father. Period. Now, the children that come out of that is the nation, and we have to stop allowing people to cross our borders. See, everyone else could talk about the border. Oh, you don't have a country unless you have a border. Well, we got to keep these people out of our border. Well, wait a minute. Now, hip hop has borders too. We got a border too because we're a specific thing. So within our specific thing, if you can't break, MC, graffiti write, it's sort of like if you can't speak English in America, you ain't American. You are not American if you can't speak English. And that's the problem with our Latino brothers and sisters. They like, no, I'm speaking Spanish. I'm speaking Espanol. And this language is older than English and been in America longer than English.
Right.
No, the white supremacist says,
Right.
If you want to be part of this, you better speak English. Okay, so every culture comes here and says, we want to be down with America. America tells you right in that immigration office, here's Babel, and you better learn English, okay? We don't care about your language. We don't care about French. We don't care about none of these other languages. Learn English, and then you could come in here. Now, why can't hip-hop say, learn breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, or beatboxing? Just learn it. You don't have to master it. Just learn it.
Right.
Okay, when you get to our border, start breaking.
Right.
When you get
just
to
like
our
everything else.
Right. That's it. We don't care about nothing else. Can you do this? Yes. Come on in our culture. Come on in. Come on in. Somebody says, but I play jazz. I got this horn. Let me see your hip hopness in this horn. How do you do this? What do you do with your horn? It's gonna make me say, yeah, that's hip hop right there. That is hip hop. Or you a jazz artist, you playing the horn, or you hitting the upright bass. Now learn how to MC.
Right. Okay.
Learn how to DJ now if you want to be part of hip-hopia. And that's the point. We're not trying to exclude anybody, but if we're going to build a nation, we got to have an image. We got to have an identity, something different from other people, and say, yo, we are hip-hop. We hip-hop right now. So If you want to be down
Right.
with this, come on and give 1% of your salary. Give 1%.
Right.
If every corporation who uses the name hip hop or uses the imagery of hip hop put a tax, 1%. That's all we're asking. 1%.
Right.
Just donate that to a tax on hip hop. We can now go buy our own land. We could go hit some government somewhere and be like, yo, we got an annual income of 1 billion. Okay, this is our annual income.
Right.
We got annual income of 10 million, let's say. That's a low number for a country. Okay, 10 million. We got a budget of 10 million. You don't think Indonesia wouldn't find some land for us? Yeah, you don't think Africa would be like, yo, get your ass over here with that 10 million coming in every year? I'll give you this whole space right here. Look, Ghana is already giving African Americans land with no money. Okay, Ghana says if you want to repatriate back to Africa, you can find some land in Ghana. Imagine that. And Ethiopia.
Wow. Yeah.
They can land the black folk right now. If you want to repatriate, you go back, sign some papers, and get involved with their culture. I'm quite sure, you got to put on the Ethiopian garb. You go, don't come over here with no African American. Okay, see, come on now. You in Ethiopia. So now you have to put that Ethiopian.
You see it. You saw Akon? Akon is creating I forget the name of it. I think it's called Akon City. Have you heard of that?
Yes. And salute. He realized what it was really all about, really. He realized what it was really all about. And he might have heard us speaking about it for many years. I'll go ahead and say that too. But the point is that, no, that's what I want to say black man, anybody who really is trying to preserve their culture, and anybody really trying to preserve their culture or trying to leave their children with something, you got to think like this. You got to think like this. Now, I would hope, that Akon City is not just another colonial trap. And I'm quite sure it's not that. But, this is what happens to cities. If you have a successful city or you're trying to build something, then, all these other people start coming in and with opinions and start bullying you around because, you get in power now. You gain it in power. So I would say that hip hop should really surround that Akon City and protect it and make sure that people do not come in and re-steer the city in some other way. Now, I didn't really brush up on, did they have a charter? Are they starting a charter? What kind of city is it? Do you have a constitution? Is he starting a full culture? That's I don't know what that is. But when we're talking about hip-hopia, we're talking about a hip-hop city that can also be franchised to other cities. It's sort of like a major version of Chinatown or Little Italy. These little areas where you could go in cities. So why New York? Just because we were born in New York, why we don't have a hip-hop town? Right. A hip-hop city in New York, a small little place where only hip-hop is sold, only hip-hop is played. It's all about hip hop here. And people come from all over the world and say, yo, we're going to experience hip hop right here. This is the club, it's right here. Food is right here. This is what it is. You know how many hip hop chefs there are right now? They got ideas and can't get their ideas out because of the bureaucracy, So that's what I'm saying. So I'm putting that on. There's a long answer now. You stretched me all the way out. Yeah. But go back.
That's about 30 minutes right there.
Edit, chop, chop, chop.